everyone. Today we're going to talk about my cutting board and ironing board. So this is a secondhand ironing and cutting board. I like it because it's got a really good handle. It's a really good size for travel and it's all here. I know there's ones that fold up and you can have them out, but I like the size of this one. It seems to just be a really good size, but the board is really brittle. And you can tell it's been used. I got it secondhand, so I'm sure they went through and had a lot done on it. And you can see the wear on it. And you can feel it's starting to get a little bit brittle. So it is not detachable from the ironing board part. What I would like to do is recover the ironing part. And I would like to soak the cutting board part. And so when you soak the cutting board part, what you do is you let it sit in vinegar and water for about 20 minutes. I believe it is 1 cup of vinegar to 1 gallon of water, and you let it soak, and it should bring this right back to its former glory. And I would like to recover this side of the board. And then what I would like to do is actually put Velcro between the two so that I can detach this board and soak it whenever I want. I think that's really helpful that you have the opportunity to be able to detach these. So I'm gonna see how it goes. I've never done this before, so bear with me. I also went out and bought this lovely print from Tula Pink, and this is what I'm gonna recover the ironing part with, and it's super cute. So her line is Tula Pink, and this is the whole homemade line, which was a number of years ago. I think it came out in, I'm guessing here, I think it was, I don't know, I'm gonna say it wrong, but it was a while ago. And so you can still find this out and about. It is in her archive on her website, which I think it's just so adorable. If you can see, it's got some pink lines, which I think will show up really well underneath a white fabric or whatever I want to measure. And this is exactly 1 inch by 1 inch. So I was looking specifically for that fabric that had markings that were 1 inch by 1 inch, so that if I'm doing something on the ironing part, I can have it all right there. Plus, I mean, come on, look at this. Little pins, little scissors, hearts, sewing machines, little X's, a button here. It's just adorable. I love her stuff. So very bright, but I think it'll be really fun once it goes with the gray. So I'm going to see how it goes, and let's get started. So here are my 2 boards. As you can see, they're pretty rough shape. I'm not sure if the camera's picking up on that, but it's really, you can see all the lines on here. It's pretty dry and brittle. It's just the texture of it is dry. So we're gonna work on that. And this one here, if you can see, it's not just dirt, but the lines on these are completely distorted. You can really see it here. And nothing is really lined up or straight anymore. So this cover really needs to go. So we're gonna take both of these, flip them over, and you can see there's a whole bunch of glue on the back of these. I just got one of these blades. I actually use this for the top of my oven or my stovetop. It's a glass stovetop, and I just take all the gunk off with this. This is going to take this up really nicely. Just going to need some little bit of elbow grease, and I'm just going to take my time and work this up. Okay, so now that I have this somewhat cleaned off, you can see there's just a little bit of residue. I'm not too worried about that because honestly, it's right down almost to the main board here. So I'm just gonna leave that on because you're not gonna see it. So now I'm gonna take the same glue off the back of my ironing pad. Now that my glue is off the back, I'm going to remove these staples that you see. The fabric here is just held on by little staples. I'm going to remove them with a screwdriver, just wedge them up and throw them out. Then I can see what's underneath of this and reveal the padding condition and just throw out the material that's around it. When it's time to work on my cutting mat, I like to completely immerse it in water. Cold water, 1 cup of white vinegar, 1 gallon of water, and a few drops of Dawn dish detergent to clean any oils, residue, or lint that might be stuck deep in the mat. So I give it a good brush to get anything out that I need to. Then I like to dry it on a towel, and you can see it's come up actually quite nice. There's still a few lines. It's not going to be perfect, but it's pretty good. To cut the new piece of material that will go on top of my ironing board, I'm going to use the original fabric and make sure it's exact same size. Once the fabric is completely cut out, I put the wrong side facing up, then the pad, then the board, and what I'm going to do is turn this fabric over and staple all the way along the edge. I think it's really important that you try to get those lines as straight as you can when you're stapling. And the nice part is there's a perfect guide here that can help you. So just use that to your advantage. I'm going to go along the sides as well, pulling them up, and I will do the corners last. When stapling the corners, I just tuck one side in and fold the other one over. You can choose which way your corners are going to go. And then I just staple it down. My ironing board is complete. Look how cute that turned out. I love this fabric. Fray Stop is going to be my best friend in this project. Look at all these little flyaway fabric threads that are all over the place. I'm just going to run a bead all along the edge to keep them from unraveling. Now to secure my ironing mat to my cutting board, I'm going to use this hook and loop pack of industrial Velcro strips. There's 4 in a pack. They're kind of like 3M strips. I just got them from Walmart. They have sticky backing on them, so you can just stick them onto the board. I'm actually going to use a little bit something extra. I'm going to add some glue to them. So there's 4 in a pack. I'm going to put 8 total, 4 down one side, 4 down the other. I'm not going to put any in the top or bottom because I think that's just not necessary. Now I am going to put the loop side on my gray cutting mat because when I go to soak it, I don't want it to be waterlogged with the fluffy side. So I'm just going to secure them on using a little bit of weld bond, which might be overkill, and the sticky part of the Velcro strips. Now, if you really don't care about adding these Velcro strips in, you can just get some glue and glue both of them together just like they were before. And you know what? They probably will come apart just fine as well. But I want to make sure that I can soak my mat because I think that's really important. So my 8 Velcro strips are on with a little bit of glue. I'm going to put my mat on top and I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure and lined up perfectly. And I probably will add a little weight to it so that it stays nice and tight. And I'm going to actually let this dry overnight. Well, I've left my mat for 24 hours overnight to dry and it still needs a little bit more time. I think it's probably because it's underneath of a plastic mat. So it just needs a little bit more time, but I'm pretty pleased with overall how it turned out. So here it is. You can see that I can carry it and it doesn't come off. I'm really excited. I love this board just for how the size of it and what I can do. This mat, this cutting mat. If you don't have this exact cutting mat, that is completely fine. You can go out and get any cutting mat from your store and you can do this exact project. You can take the mat, put some Velcro on the back, get somebody who's handy who can make this board for you. And then all you need is the fabric and the iron safe padding that you can buy at most stores. So just make sure you look online or in the stores and find iron safe padding specifically for ironing boards. I think my favorite part is that I'm going to be able to take this and I'll be able to soak it once it dries. And so there it is. It's on pretty good. So there's my Velcro. You can see. I can take that off and soak it down the road, my mat, so that it doesn't get dried out. What I really love is this fabric. Isn't it adorable? I love that it has all the marking lines that I need. And I also love these little embellishments. I think that's my favorite part. So thank you once again for joining me, and go out and make yourself a board.